A very interesting chess match is presented on 1959 Candidates Tournament between Fischer against Gligoric. In this match, Bobby Fischer holds white and Gligoric holds black. Okay, let's start. The game starts with white pawn e4, black pawn e5, knight f3, dark knight c6, Sicilian defense opening. Pawn d4 invites a pawn exchange. Pawn captures pawn. The knight captures the pawn. In response, the black knights move to f6, attacks the pawn directly. Knight c3 protects the pawn. Black pawn advances to d6. The bright bishop c4 attacks the pawn. Dark black bishop d7, strengthening the protection to the knight. Bishop retreats to b3, black pawn g6, preparing the bishop to g7 square. Pawn f3 adds protection to the pawn. Dark knight jumps to a5, attacks the bishop. White knight attacks the dark bishop at g5, dark bishop d7. Queen d2, black pawn h6, chases away the bishop. Bishop retreats to e3, black rook c8. White does a castling on the queen's wing and black responds with a knight jump to c4, a double attack on the queen and the bishop. The queen avoided threats to e2, black answered the knight captures the bishop. Queen rewarded this step to capture the knight, and black did the castling. White pawn g4. The black queen starts to attack by jumping to the a5 square. White advances the pawn h4, black pawn e6. Knight retreats to e2, like black c6. The white pawn continues to advance to g5, attacking the knight. Answered, the pawn captures the pawn. The black pawn is captured by another white pawn. This is a good spot, which is creating a direct attack on the knight while opening the h-file. The knight dodges to h5. Pawn f4 strengthens the g5 pawn. Black rook aligns line with another rook to c8, attacks knight 4 times. King b1. Black queen b6 invites a queen exchange. White refuses to swap by shifting to f3. Let's analyze this step. If the white queen accepts the exchange by capturing the black queen, then the white queen will be captured by the black rook. This condition will make the black in a superior position because all of his officers are actively carrying out attacks. That's why white rejected this queen swap by evading to f3. Black rook c5. Queen d3 answered, the bishop captures the knight. The bishop is captured by the knight, and the black knight captures the pawn that has no escort and makes a direct attack on the queen. The queen dodges the knight's attack to f3, countering attacks the knight. The knight avoids the attack by returning to h5. But it turns out this step is a fatal move from black. A misjudging from black ruins their attacking position. Black thought that the knight back to the h5 square was a safe position because it was protected by a pawn, and the white rook is not there to capture the knight. However, this judgment turned out to be wrong. Unexpectedly, the white rook dared to capture a knight on h5. This forced the pawn to capture the rook. Then, the pawn is captured by the queen. Black, who from the beginning made an attack, has now turned into a defensive position by stepping the light bishop to e8, guarding the pawn and also stalking the queen. White queen advances to h6. Black rook captures the knight. Pawn captures the rook. The rook captures the pawn. This attack is ignored by white. White continues to threaten the defense of the black king by moving pawns to g6. The black pawn captures the pawn. Rook h1. Checkmate preparation in 2 steps. The black queen tries to protect the checkmate threat with a move to d4, blockade dh6 square. But after the queen checks on h7, black proposed to resign because there is no other move for the king other than moving to f8, which is the rook will check again on f1. The bishop blocks check and it will be coached by the queen. f7, checkmate. That is an interesting game between Fischer versus Gligoric in 1959.